my baby. Go home, my baby. My baby, baby, I'm going home. Baby, baby, I'm going home. Let me be about this old good to roll. My baby. Go home, my baby. Go home.
2 days after his air ambulance had crashed,
What?
he made it only about 4 kilometers before it crash landed.
What?
To respect the conspicuous gallantry and intrepid intrepid ability of his service. And finally, the airship was ready to depart. One of his Vietnamese allies was shot in the foot. I think we're dismissed.
Votes in for Mac.
Laura, is she trying to repel voters? I don't know exactly what she's attempting to sell here, but I'm not sure the sun don't shine agenda is going to be picked up by too many voters, even in Rhode Island.
Is that a climate change commentary? I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
You know, given the controversy over curriculum, Laura, which
Oh,
would be
boy.
talking about teaching a comprehensive, culturally relevant, age-appropriate sexual health education curriculum, which is what this bill is.
The opposite of pain and fear is pleasure. So teaching our young people that using their bodies in an empowering way and setting healthy boundaries and talking about productive relationships, that is a sense of pleasure.
Oh,
Yeah, let's hope that
okay.
doesn't
Makes his way down the hall. A little boy rounding the corner as the gunman opens fire, narrowly escaping as more than 100 rounds are fired. 3 minutes later, police arriving. 2 officers doubling back as they come under fire.
Where's their
19
shield?
minutes after the gunman first opened fire inside, more heavily armed officers arrive, some with shields. 36 minutes in, officers are still seen standing in the hallway, guns drawn, but still have not confronted the suspect.
Of course not.
48 minutes go by. He fires another 4 rounds, but still no rescue attempts. At 57 minutes later, more waiting. It's not until 12:50, 77 minutes after the shooter entered the school, 74 minutes after the first police arrive, that a team would finally breach the classroom and kill the gunman.
Mom, she's a doctor, all right? She'll get you. And look, she's right. I've been to those bogadas. They're full of breakfast tacos. And you know, Jill got that from me. That's my nickname for the Hispanic people. I say, hey, come here, my little breakfast taco. Let me take a whiff of you. Oh, I got sour cream on my nose. You know, they like it. They like it. You know, all the minorities like me. I don't care who you are. The Latinx people, the Malcolm X people, they all like me.
Hell bent for leather. Whoa, 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 camera 2. Whoa, 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 put on the brakes, put on the brakes.
We'll get it right.
Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, floofties, bung-eyed heifers, right-neck wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, and little dogs too, even the old ones. Oh, this dog is older than cold water. You gonna say hello? You got anything to say for yourself, old man?
Hello, Mike. Hello, Mac.
Yeah, see your buddy Terry? He's in the studio.
See me waving?
Yeah. Hi, Terry. All right, old man. You got your own camera. No, get out from under there. Get out from under there. Get. Come on, get out of there. Mac, get out of there. Anyways, come on. Don't be a stick in the mud. Come on. There you go. All right, dog cam.
We got him.
Oh, man. Come on, do something. Roll on your back, grunt, scratch like you used to. You can do it. You can do it. Do something camera-worthy, man. It's worse than Wayne's World. Anyways, you are, thanks, Philo. In the booth, we have Philo T. Farnsworth, College of Musical Knowledge. You can see his drumming videos, if they haven't taken them down for copyright, on at Terry DeFazio on YouTube. Oh, back under the table.
This last one is like yours, Steve. It's on Rumble.
Yeah, or you can see him on Rumble now. And us too, yeah. But anyways, who are we? Where are we? And you are watching It's News to Us. We're Newport's oldest TV news watchers now. Here, now, brown kill, as the locals say. We got adult themes and adult language. Not really, just in case one slips out. Beware the Bronze Age of visible sky God is going to beat you and forgive you and beat you and forgive you, just like the book of Job in the Old Testicle. And here's our commander-in-chief. Get off my lawn in senile agitation. Now, mind you, we are living in a geriocracy, okay? This is a cadaver-in-chief, that's him right there. And we've got some good stuff here. If you go to judicialwatch.org, and you can see Biden's records, Fauci's grants, insane stuff. Justice Department. Anyways, go to this website. And what was the other one? PJ Media and, oh my God, I can't remember. It'll come to me. But anyways, okay. Now, this is for our younger viewers. I'm sure there's one or two out there. You know, you see some of us. We're old. We got gray hair. Okay, but we are part of the baby boomers. The baby boomers are born from 1946 to 1964. Okay, and these people running the country are older than us. Okay, these people were born around and during World War II. These are the people running this country, and they're gone, man. Thank God Leahy's retiring, but we still have Pelosi. She's gone. Like she says, you can't cry wolf in a crowded theater, and all kinds of stupid crap. Yeah, it's not rocket surgery.
Yeah, it's not that either.
Yeah. But they're just gone, man. They're just gone. And these are the people running this country, and they're running it into the damn ground. I saw an interview with Lauren Boisvert. She's a congresswoman from Colorado, a younger girl. Well, she's got teenage kids, so she's not that young, but she says, look, you know, she got to Washington and they're telling her, look, you know, this isn't the way we do things here. You know, you got to line up and, you know, work with us. And she says, look, I didn't come here because of you. She says, I'm here in spite of you. You know what I mean? And that's what we got to do. We got to vote all these zipperheads out because they're ruining this. Oh my God, this ESG scores for countries. Sri Lanka's going down the toilet. They tried to switch to all green energy and they went down the tubes. They cut off their ammonium nitrate fertilizer, so now their rice crop has been cut in half, so they can't make their payments and stuff for their national debt, and they're rioting in the streets. There's no fuel, there's no propane, and the same thing in the Netherlands. They're rioting in the Netherlands. We don't see that on TV except on Fox because of the same stupid crap. They're telling the Dutch farmers, oh, you can't use your manure and you can't use chemical fertilizers. It's contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. Well, people are going to starve. And now, in one of the papers this week, I hope I can get to Putin shut off the gas to Germany. And then, what is it, Hanover or Hamburg? One of them H cities in Germany. They don't have any hot water, Philo. You believe it?
It's amazing.
What happened, I think they have for the central part of the city, I don't know if they siphon the heat off from power generation or whatever, but the city provides hot water. And
why did they shut their oil off?
Pardon me?
Why did Russia do that?
Well, they said they shut down the Nord Stream 1 pipeline for maintenance.
Oh.
It's supposed to be down for 10 days of maintenance, but it could be going on for longer because that's why Germany won't give any money to the Ukraine or jet fighters or anything else. We've been footing the bill for these pukes. They wouldn't give Trump $3 billion to build a friggin' wall between Mexico and our border. And yet we've already given $54 billion, and they just gave him another couple billion yesterday, day before. This is insane. This is not our war. But anyways.
You know, one of the representatives I had on yesterday said this is something that people should realize. While this green energy is a good idea, and people are buying Teslas and all that, when you consume less gasoline, you have less tax money for infrastructure for roads and bridges.
Man, I can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's a little better, yeah.
Yeah, what he said was because you use less gasoline, there's less gas tax, less money for roads and bridges.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's why they wanted to put an odometer tax on hybrids and electric vehicles.
Oh, okay. He didn't mention that part.
Yeah, well, they've been talking about it, but I doubt they'll do it because, you know, nobody in Vermont, come on, man, unless you work for the state, nobody's got money for a brand new electric car.
Only my stepdaughter and her husband.
Yeah, it's crazy. And anyways, speaking of which, they're back, all right? They're back. Camera 2, Philo, por favor. Have you seen this man? Well, he's back. Yeah, he's back, man. And they're out putting the scare into people. You wait, man, they're going to bring back this all new variant. And they had Dr. Malone on the War Room earlier. And you can see him at R.W. Malone. Look him up. Don't use Google. Use DuckDuckGo. If you try Googling him, they bury him in his stuff. He's an epidemiologist. He's one of the scientists that invented the mRNA vaccines. And what he was saying is that the variants are spreading and killing people in the vaccinated countries because it's just the opposite of what it was intended to do, it seems. The vaccines, he says, seem to be diminishing the T cells and B cell memory cells, and so the variants are more lethal for the countries that have the highest vaccination rates. So it's crazy. And for the folks at YouTube, it's not my opinion. This is what I'm just quoting other people. So anyways, Fauci got the virus on June 15th. Now, mind you, this guy has had 4 doses, all right? He had mild symptoms at 81 years old, so he took Paxlovid for 5 days, and on day 4 tested positive. They called it a Paxlovid rebound. He felt poorly and much worse than the first go-around. And also, the Fifth Circuit Court had blocked the Biden's federal employee vaccine mandate until September, when all 17 judges can hear it in New Orleans. And if you want to see a website about adverse events, these are real people with their real stories. It's on a website called realnotrare.com. 3 words, realnotrare.com. And oh man, we got, I don't know if we put a Biden clip on the beginning, I can't remember, but that dumbass, he's so stupid. They had a movie about this newsman, Ron Burgundy, and years ago it was called Anchorman or something like that. Philo, remember?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this guy was so stupid, he would repeat anything he saw on the teleprompter, and that's exactly what Biden did last Friday. He
do that once?
Pardon me?
Didn't Sarah Palin do that once? She lost track of something, and the teleprompter was put something else on it. She goes off on a tangent or something.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, after watching these bozos, they make Sarah Palin look like Einstein.
Wow.
This is crazy stuff. Anyways, he was reading along, and then he said, repeat the line. It's like, what? They put in there, in parentheses probably, repeat the line for effect, you know? Because after all, he is Joey 2 times. Joey 2 times. And then he read out end of quote. You're supposed to read it and say, you know, this is the quote, read it, and then he reads it and says, he reads the part in the parentheses, end of quote. This guy's toast, man. And then he was going on about the 10-year-old rape victim who had to leave Ohio and go to Indiana for an abortion, Philo.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, well, it turns out that story's not quite kosher, Philo.
My wife was telling me about that.
Yeah, because
raped by her father or something.
I can hardly hear you. You're echoing in. It's off the charts, man.
Huh. I guess this isn't going to work.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay. So something about her. She was raped by her father or something.
Well, see, that's the thing. If that was true, then there's a reporting statute. The doctor has to report it, and the Attorney General from Ohio says, look, we've got no reports. I've asked all my DAs, you know, none of this came up. You can't just, you know. So this story just doesn't have any legs, but in its single source, there's no other sources for this story. You know, obviously, you don't want to, it's a minor, you don't want to mention any names or anything, but the authorities have the duty, a doctor, if a doctor says this kid's been, they said the kid's been raped, then they have to do, if it's close enough in time, you do a rape kit, you do a DNA kit on the cells or the fetus or whatever, and then you find out who the father was and prosecute them. But none of this has gone through, so the story appears to be baloney, or part of it. We don't know.
So who reported it first?
This abortionist. She's a pro-abortion doctor in Indiana.
Okay.
And she told the story to somebody at the Indianapolis Star newspaper, and they ran with it. They didn't do enough background on it. They just ran with it. And of course, Idiot Joe picks it up and runs with it on Friday. And his executive order doesn't do squat. All it does is establish a committee to look at the federal abortion law. I mean, it's crazy. And speaking of abortion law, I'm going to read you something from this, because these guys are good. They're neither pro nor anti-abortion. It's judicialwatch.org. And there's that puke, Agent Zoc, up in the picture there. But let's see. They're suing the State Department for the Hunter Biden documents now. But let's see. The one I wanted to go over here was they're going after vaccines and stuff, and Project Veritas. But here it is. The University of Pittsburgh sought help from the NIH to deflect criticism of fetal organ experiments. Now, mind you, this isn't, you know, stem cells or fetal organs to, you know, to deal with genetic diseases or, you know, anything. It's for baldness, man. For baldness. Listen to this gruesome crap. Judicial Watch obtained 34 pages of new records revealing the vice chancellor at the university contacted the director of NIH, Francis Collins, who has resigned. He should, and so should Fauci, about potentially illegal fetal tissue research. And it's a court case, Judicial Watch versus the Department of Health and Human Services. The lawsuit was filed in D.C. after HHS failed to respond for a request for information about the University of Pittsburgh procurement and experimentation. Okay, now what were they experimenting on? They spent $3 million in federal funds for UP to be a tissue hub for human fetal tissue ranging from 6 to 42 weeks gestation. How many weeks are there in 9 months, Philo? 9 times 4?
Well, there was some disagreement. There was some disagreement when my ex-wife and I were going through. They said X actually can be 40 weeks. And if a woman's late having a child, it might go that way. But you know, an average is 36.
We're talking 6 weeks to 42 weeks.
That's a long term. She's way overdue if she goes 42 weeks.
It's crazy, and they were using abortion. They were having abortions at that late. The aims of the project were to develop a pipeline for the acquisition, quality control, and distribution of human genitourinary samples, and generate an ongoing resource to distribute fresh development human genitourinary samples from various stages to the GUDMAP, the Genitourinary Development Molecular Anatomy Atlas projects. In the proposal, it says they've been collecting fetal tissue for over 10 years, including liver, heart, gonads, legs, brains, kidneys, uteruses, and bladders. They bragged they had over 300 fresh samples from 77 cases. And the material could have been accrued from as many as 725 cases last year. And let's see, this includes, as well as the 3 laboratories in the flagship UP hospitals, includes a lab boasting a Butcher Boy bandsaw for sectioning bone, frozen sections room with digital video feed to the operating rooms, as well as immediate show and tell at the Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. They state that it records the warm ischemic time on our samples and takes steps to keep it a minimum, ensure quality samples, body temperature after blood supply is cut off, yada, yada, yada. The event that triggered this, the publication of a paper on grafting fetal skin onto rodents, supported by an R21 and NIAID 15, NIAID, I provide this for background, details don't matter. Okay. Also included is a report published in Nature that contains information about grafting human, fetal, scalp, and other tissues onto humanized mice. Human skin tissues were obtained for scalp and dorsum of donors and used in developing human skin graftments with and without hair in the mouse model, respectively. Full thickness human fetal skin was processed via removal of excess fat tissues, attached to the subcutaneous layer of the skin, then engrafted over the rib cage where the mouse skin was previously removed. Okay. And let's see. UP used the body parts of babies who were born alive and died from having their organs harvested, as well as if individuals procuring the baby body parts for the university altered abortion procedures to suit their gruesome research. These documents expose the collusion between UP and the NIH over the fetal organ chop shop at the university, paid for by federal bucks. Here we have the federal government of major university seemingly desperate to continue the barbaric trafficking of the organs of human beings killed by abortion. In September last year, Judicial Watch uncovered through a lawsuit records involving humanized mice research with human fetal heads. Fetal heads. They're using human fetal heads, dude.
That's disgusting.
Organs and tissue, including communications and contracts with human fetal tissue providers. It's sickening. And you wonder why the majority of the population is against anything over heartbeat 10, 15 weeks. It's crazy. Anyways.
I don't understand how anybody could do that.
Oh, you gotta, man, I don't know. Yeah, you gotta have oh, man.
There's something else I could mention, but I'm not going to, but I'll tell you later anyways.
This is Frankenstein stuff, man.
Yep.
It's almost as bad as playing with viruses, for crying out loud. Oh, and then we find out, we told you about last week how the oil that they've been taken out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in western Louisiana, and they've been selling millions of barrels to the Chinese, to the Netherlands, and to, I don't know, another country. But it's been going to a company in China that has Hunter Biden connections, Philo.
Isn't that a big surprise, huh?
Yeah, what a big surprise. Now, I don't get philosophical or hypothetical here, but, okay, here's a mind exercise for you. How many people out there, would be willing to sell out their country, provided that you became a multimillionaire and your kids became multimillionaires and they never had to work again, and you'd be just made in the shade? How many people would be willing to sell out their country and their fellow Americans for that?
You might be surprised at how many would.
Yeah. They used to call them Benedict Arnolds. Well, this is what I think has happened with Biden, okay? And this is why they're going after him. It's not because he's old or he's belligerent or he's a cranky old dick and he's been shuffling around and skipping the record skipping in his brain. No, it's because they know the stuff is coming out from the laptop. This guy who got a hold of the laptop, I can dig up his name somewhere. I should have written it down. But he's in Switzerland. He went to Switzerland because he's so scared of the alphabet authorities in the United States coming after him. But he obtained the hard drive, and he brought it to. He's not a real computer expert, but he knows some people who are. And he gave it to this buddy of his, and his buddy says, "Let me do a couple tricks here with a laptop." He says, "I think there might be more here." So his buddy does a couple of tricks, works his way around the password, and bang, they got a treasure trove of data from that laptop going way, way, way back, man. And it looks like the Biden Inc. has taken over $30 million from China alone, okay? Not to mention the $1 billion that the Chinese fund set up for Hunter and his buddies to play with. Some kind of, not a trust fund, but one of those chooch funds that favored investors. And the Chinese, they didn't give it to Goldman Sachs. They didn't give it to anybody on Wall Street. They gave it to Biden. And now we find out that Biden comes in, he dropped the spying thing that Trump went after. Trump went after the Chinese spies. There was an outfit in Houston. They were in universities. They were stealing our stuff left and right. And Trump went after them. And Biden comes in, shuts them right down. He says, well, you're racist if you're going after the Chinese. No. This is insane. And so then, same thing, he's looking at dropping the tariffs on China now. And they're selling oil to the Chinese, our oil that is in that hole in the ground for an emergency. If we're stuck in the middle of winter and there's some kind of oil shock or like Hurricane Katrina, whatever, we're screwed. Now, mind you, after Katrina, they released 20 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The thing, when it's full, if it was full, it would hold about 700 million barrels. So they sold off a bunch. There's 568 million barrels left, I think. They've been selling it off to pay off debt. And Biden's authorized 180 million barrels, 1 million barrels a day, and it's going to foreign countries through his son's business ties in China. It's going to China. And yet gas prices here keep going up. They're going down a little bit now because they choked as much as they could.
I was surprised. I gassed up at Jiffy Mart this morning down on Coventry Street, $4.47.
Yeah, I saw the prices had dropped when I came in.
Yeah, he was actually lower than anybody. He was the last one to go over $5.
So the SPR oil is going to India, China, Asia, and the Netherlands. And over 13 billion in payments has gone to Russia for Russian oil. This is all a big game, man. The ruble is stronger now than it ever has been.
The future is ours.
Huh?
The future is ours.
Yeah, the future is ours. Oh man!
They wanted this great reset.
That's why they're going after these countries, man. It's crazy. They every place that's trying to gone to clean energy is losing it. We're losing it left and right. What's his face? Tucker Carlson's been going after this. His show last night was really good because the countries that have gone off fossil fuels, like Ghana, they now have no power and no fuel in Ghana. Yep, even though they had their own oil wells and whatever. South Africa has rolling blackouts and brownouts. They're off the hook. They're gone. Like I said, it spread to the Netherlands and now Sri Lanka. The government, they're overthrowing the government as we speak in Sri Lanka, which is a big old island off the coast of India. And it's just crazy, man. Every country that's tried this green stuff is puking, big time.
You know, Brazil doesn't have any gas-powered cars.
Oh yeah, they're all alcohol. Yeah,
it's all alcohol because they don't need gasoline for the cars down there. So there's no gas-powered cars, which is fine with me.
Yeah, and they're going after Bolsonaro, man. They hate him. Same thing with the Hungarian guy, Viktor Orban. He just got reelected. They said the election had problems. Well, no, it didn't. They sent observers in there, and it was fine. And they keep talking about the deep state. Well, you know, I think there is I don't know if you'd call it the deep state or not, but there is an administrative state. There are 432 agencies, Philo, with 2.9 million federal employees, okay?
It's a bureaucracy.
Yeah. Anyways, Dr. Robert Malone, who I mentioned earlier, you can see him at the Brownstone Institute and on Substack too. But it's called an elite merger. Well, and what happened last week, we had you know about the Supreme Court decisions on abortion. That drove the Democrats crazy. I haven't seen them this mad, like I said, since we took away their slaves in 1865. And then you had the Second Amendment thing where they said that New York, if you live in New York, they can't deny you a permit, you know, just arbitrarily for a gun to defend yourself, because the streets are going nuts. Every Democratic-run city in the country, their streets are like jungles now. And it's just insane. People have had it. There's going to be a wave like you read about next November. And the third decision, this is the big one, the third decision to come out of the Supreme Court, the big one is that they clipped the EPA's wings, okay? The Supreme Court came out and said EPA has no power to declare carbon dioxide a pollutant and shut down the country's energy grid because they're the EPA. The Supreme Court says only Congress has this power. Because see, the Congress has just delegated power to the FDA. We saw what that did during the scamdemic, to the NIH, to the CDC, to the EPA, to the transportation. It's just they've delegated all these powers, and the Supreme Court says no, it's unconstitutional. You guys are elected by the people. You people have the power. You can't just shove it off to some bureaucrat, unelected bureaucrat, and let them run the country into the ground. And that is the big one. That is what's got them really upset. Oh, sure, they're screaming about abortion. They got a few wingnuts out in the streets every day, but there'll still be abortion in like 24 different states. It didn't outlaw it in the country. It just sent it back to the states where it belongs. Yeah, like it used to be. So anyways, there's another decision. It was called the Chevron defense. I'll have to look that one up. But anyways, it's called the non-delegation principle, which eliminates the fourth branch, or the administrative state, or the concentrated state, and interagency process. It's just inverted totalitarianism is all it is, man. It's a revolving door of agencies, and they come into the government, they make decisions for their buddies in industry, and then they come back out, and then they make big money from the industry. It's like Obama. You think, where did he get the money to buy a place on a compound on Martha's Vineyard? You know what I mean? They get rewarded, or they're worse, they're like Biden, where he just sends his bagman kid to different countries to shake them down and take the money. Like I said last week, there's been over 250 suspicious activity reports lodged with the Department of Treasury about Hunter Biden. It's crazy, and we don't hear a peep about it because Daddy happens to be president and he's shuffling around, pooping his pants. It's nuts, man. So anyways, speaking of big pharma, Biden just signed a new deal with Pfizer, a $3.2 billion deal for 105 million doses for this fall. Now, mind you, these are for, the original vaccine. I don't know if they've been updated for the new variants, but they can't. It's like the flu. By the time they get a flu shot ready, it's for last year's flu.
They're pushing this new booster.
Yeah.
Now they're saying wait till the end of September or even October, because they haven't figured out what this new variant is. But Yahoo News is scaring everybody. It's going to be awful. It's more worse than ever. Now remember that, more worse.
Yeah.
than ever.
It's crazy,
They're all nuts.
They're scaring the crap out of everybody again.
Yep.
But here's the thing to look for. Look for the confirmed fatality rates, okay? There's a boatload more cases, but they're not lethal. Don't you get it yet? And there are things you can do in vitamins and this and that, supposedly, to help your own immune system. I mean, it's crazy.
I saw a funny one on Facebook. It said, be nice to your spouse. They could kill you, and it would be blamed on the coronavirus.
Oh, sure. And I was reading that book by Naomi, what's her name? Oh, damn. Anyways, it'll come to me. But The Bodies of Others, Naomi Wolf, Dr. Naomi Wolf, and they just scared the crap out of people for no reason. And when she started digging into the numbers, and I did this too, when I was asking the governor and the health department, Levine, questions every week. I asked him about the fatality rate, and I asked him about, how many, you're listing these things as coronaviruses, you're using that stupid PCR test, which is not a test, and it was never designed to be one, the PCR method, and so there are something like, Ray and I counted them up, there are 10 to 15 different coronaviruses in circulation right now. I wrote them and listed them all down. I got them off the internet, and I asked them about that, and they're all like, well, yeah, but, those are coronaviruses. I said, well, how do you know you're not catching some of them, in your case count? And funny, as soon as Biden gets elected, bang, they get rid of the PCR testing method. Right after we get rid of Trump. Isn't that funny?
Well, he wanted to mandate all of these vaccines, and he wanted to make all of this sweeping changes. Everybody's got to get a shot.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm glad they stuffed it to him. The governors stuffed it to him, because a whole bunch of them said, no, we're not going to do this.
I mean, you look back on the stuff that these people were tweeting out, like that guy Kramer from CNBC or whatever it is. He was saying that the Army ought to come in and make sure these people, hold them down and vaccinate them. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you can't leave your house ever. I mean, this is insanity. And in France, they're trying to bring back the vaccine passports, and the people aren't going to put up with it. Because the vaccines, let's face it, they don't seem to be working. So anyways, he signed a $3.2 billion deal for 105 million doses for the fall, with an option to buy 300 million. We paid Pfizer already $1.95 billion before for 100 million doses originally, and 500 million doses more at $19.50 a dose. And people aren't as stupid as they seem. They had a thing on kiddie vaccinations in Vermont, Philo, and some bonehead parents have already vaccinated their kids, something like 5,000 of them in Vermont, but it's only like 6 or 7%. The rest of the people aren't vaccinating their kids because there's virtually, unless your kid has underlying conditions, there's virtually no need to. It's insane.
I think DeSantis even said you're not going to bring this vaccine for kids under 5 into Florida.
Yeah.
It was one of those governors, wasn't it him?
I think so, man. I hope they run him for president.
Well, there's only one thing standing in his way, and that'll be if Trump throws his hat in there, and that'll mess everything up. So I hope he stays out of it and DeSantis has a shot.
Well, one thing about Trump, maybe he'll run DeSantis as his VP. One thing about Trump, He was a businessman. He knew what he wanted to do, and he did it. He put up with a lot of baloney. They tried to make everything stick. They dug up, they made up stuff against Trump, and they're hiding the stuff that Biden did now. It's crazy. And we either need a governor or somebody with administrative experience running a big outfit like a state, or a business person. And if Trump did it before, I mean, think about it. He lowered taxes, gas was cheap, fuel oil, diesel was cheap, food was plentiful. Now we've got shortages like a third world America. Hardly any baby formula, tampons this week. It's just off the hook crazy. This guy has been in politics for 50 years, and he doesn't know his arse from his hole in the wall. He was a stupid senator. He was barely there. He was a glad-handing hair sniffer, and now he's president. Elections have consequences, and stolen elections have consequences too. You had big tech sitting on articles. They knew about all this stuff before the election. They had the Johnson-Grassley report came out in August before the election, and not one newspaper even mentioned it. And they detailed Hunter Biden's shady deals. Tucker Carlson had that business partner, Tony Bobolinsky, and Hunter complaining, I have to give half my salary to the big guy, at 10% to the big guy, half my salary for pops. It's crazy, man. It's a criminal enterprise.
Half of his salary for pot?
Yeah, really. He kept saying that. Yeah, how would you guys like it if you had to give half your salary to pops? But it's nuts, man. If you go to the Gateway Pundit, that's the one I was telling you about. Because, see, all we've got going now is January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, every day, day in, day out. They had this stupid hearing yesterday, and they had a Twitter employee, and all they had was a shadow filer when they used a voice changer, saying, Trump was so bad, we should have been kicked off Twitter, a long time ago. But anyways, this is from today's paper here. This is high comedy, man. That's all they've got is January 6th. And you know what? People have had it. Nobody cares, all right? When you go to the grocery store and you have to make up your mind where you're going to fill up your gas tank or get groceries, these are misdemeanors, okay? Nobody cares. And it's a joke. Listen to this stuff. Had a White House official. What I thought they were proposing was nuts. You guys are wussies, Trump said, using crass language. Oh my God. Could you imagine that? Somebody getting angry and using bad language, Philo. It's insane.
He's never worked in a machine shop, has he?
Yeah, really. I try working in a foundry, man.
Or a construction site.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, on a job site. In vulgar and often racist language, the messages beaming across the far-right forums. It was going to be a red wedding, bring handcuffs. Several members of the Capitol Police who fought the mob that day sat stone-faced in the front row. Oh yeah, the problem of politicians whipping up mob violence to destroy fair elections is the oldest domestic enemy of constitutional democracy, said Representative and Fourth Mark's brother, Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat of Maryland. They had no cross-examination, no opposing witnesses, no questions from anybody else. These are, if you think Adam, oh wow, we lost the audio. If you think, there it is. If you think Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney are Republicans, they're not. They're Trump haters. Kinzinger isn't running for office, and Liz Cheney's going to get her butt kicked because she hasn't lived in Wyoming for 25 years, man. She's a swamp creature. She's been living in Virginia across the river for 20 plus years. Yeah. Expected to testify in person was Oath Keepers leaders. Ooh, the Oath Keepers. They got like 50 Oath Keepers spread across 50 different states. It's like they're just a dumbass militia of pot-bellied geezers. Come on.
Yeah, he was on, what was it, Yahoo News, saying that the January 6th thing could have been so much worse.
Well, Trump authorized, Pelosi is in charge of security, and they won't make her testify. Trump authorized 20,000 National Guard in writing, and they wouldn't take it. And this week's session comes after former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson proved stunning accounts under oath of an angry Trump who sent armed supporters to the Capitol. Now, what armed supporters? There were no arms. Nobody was armed. There was not one, there was not one gun or firearm or firecracker found in the whole freaking crowd. Some idiots brought mace and stuff like that and bear spray. But, you know, those are the people who should get arrested. If you break stuff and hurt people, sure, you should be arrested and prosecuted, obviously. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cassidy Hutchinson, she said, oh, Trump tried to grab the wheel. Well, the problem is, if you look at both limos, either the Beast or the other SUV limo, there's 10 feet between the passenger and the driver, Philo. The president doesn't ride up front. That's where the SS men are. And she says, he reached over and tried to grab the wheel. Did you see him do that? No, I wasn't there. I just heard somebody say it. Well, that's hearsay, honey. This is crazy stuff, man.
Hearsay is better than nothing.
Oh, man, it's nuts. It's nuts. The Proud Boys have said their membership grew after Trump, during the first debate, refused to condemn the group, but told them to stand back and stand by. Well, that was during that stupid debate with Chris Wallace, who beat up on Trump and covered up for Biden. He wouldn't allow Trump to mention Biden's crookedness, and Chris Wallace got paid off with a $5 or $10 million payday for that stupid CNN Plus that went down and circled the bowl. It lasted about 3 Scaramucci's.
Yeah, and when Bernie exposed Biden, nothing was ever said, was it?
Oh, no, yeah.
Bernie crucified him in that debate, and Biden lied all the way through it, and the news people, they just loved it.
Oh, Biden, yeah. Well, what you got to do is you got to play the record player for the kids. Remember that one?
No, Bernie kept saying, you said this, Joe. No, I didn't. Yes, here it is. It's on tape. I've got it right here. No, I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah.
What a lying sack of crap.
Yeah, he's been a lying sack of crap since he got elected. One of the most recognizing figures from the attack was a shirtless Arizona man who called himself the QAnon shaman, carried a spear, wore face paint, and a Viking hat with fur and horns. And all that guy did, he walked up, he sat down at the speaker's desk in the well of the Congress, and he just sat there and put his feet up on the desk. That's all the guy did. He didn't break anything or hurt anybody. This is crazy, man. A core belief among QAnon followers is that Trump is secretly fighting a cabal of deep state operatives, prominent Democrats, and Hollywood elites, some who worship Satan and engage in sex trafficking of children. Well, we know there's a lot of sex trafficking of children, especially in Hollywood. And like I said, there are 432 agencies with 2.9 million employees, and they don't vote conservative, people. But anyways, it's nuts. So anyways, if you want to see the FBI plants, now mind you, there are still a few good people in the FBI, and one of them, either in the Kansas City office or who had access to the documents in the Kansas City FBI office, put all this stuff online. And you can see it at gatewaypundit.com or what's the other one? Revolver.news, okay? Either go to revolver.news or to see the latest document dump. There is audio of the people that they hired to raise hell on January 6th. These are undercover agents and paid agitators. And like I said, gatewaypundit.com. And the FBI even said that there was no conspiracy or pre-planning, and you can get audio and a document dump from a whistleblower. And he said that there was herd mentality and it was unorganized. And And one of their people that got busted, he told the crowd to bag the trash and not to enter. He said, they've heard your voices, now let's go. They knocked over a couple of rubbish barrels, and he said, pick up the trash, let's get out of here. They've heard your voices. Oh, yeah, that's dangerous. That's an insurrection, mister. Anyways, we've just lost 40,000 National Guard, and 20,000 reservists have been cut off for not being vaccinated. Meanwhile, we are down 23% in recruitment for the armed forces, and all the normal people have left. You know that Defense Secretary Austin, he hasn't got a vaccine, Philo?
Wow.
He's had a vaccine waiver. Huh. I wonder why, man. I wonder why. And here we are right here. January 6th committee sets hearing for prime time. Ooh. This Kinzinger is a blubbering idiot, okay? And they say, oh, it was viewed by 20 million people. Really? It was viewed by 20 million people only when they put it on every channel so you couldn't watch anything else. Oh, come on. It's like North Korean TV, man. And last but not least, Dems seek to protect Medicare. Oh, yeah, it's them evil Republicans. They want to push Granny off a cliff in her wheelchair. Well, no, don't have to worry about that. Fauci already did that with the China virus, man.
And where did it hit first, and where did it hit the biggest? Nursing homes. But we got to lock them all in so they'll all catch it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you know what they found? They found that the virus wasn't what killed most of these people. It was failure to thrive.
Isolation. And now the kids are going crazy. They just had a bunch of 10-year-old kids beat a 71-year-old homeless guy to death in Philadelphia with traffic cones. They were out at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's on video, Philo. You should see it. It's disgusting. A gang of 10 black kids. You know, it shouldn't matter what color they are, but I don't know. All I know is what I see. It's just crazy, man.
And the bigger question is, were they charged?
They did. They rounded up and they got the ringleader and a couple of the other kids. Oh, and they got this giant female basketball player. She's in a Russian jail. All right? Well, hey, dumbass, when you go to a foreign country, you don't bring your drugs with you. What are you, stupid or something? I mean, all right, when we used to go to Mexico, Philo, right? They had a Mexican border where they had a couple of booths, and these guys were supposedly looking for something, but they never looked for anything. They always waved traffic through. So the deal was, if you went to Mexico, you could bring a bag of weed with you or whatever you carried in your pockets or whatever, and the Mexican cops would just wave you through. They didn't care if you looked like a hippie or a freak or whatever. It's like, come on, man, come on to Tijuana, see the bullfight, spend some money, and they'd let you in. But I'm telling you what, man, you better keep it on the down low, because you get busted in Mexico, you're going in their jail and you ain't coming out, mister. And I'll tell you what, they don't feed you or take care of you unless you have relatives or friends bringing you in food and stuff and bribing the guards. This is serious stuff. And this dumbass goes over to Russia and brings a bunch of vape cartridges with her? What, you're that messed up you can't go 2 weeks without weed?
Okay,
what the hell's her name?
Last but not least.
Brittany Griner. Oh my God. Already?
Yep.
Oh, here it is, right here. Like I told you. If you're green and woke, you go broke. They've decarbonized these countries, man. No chemical fertilizers have been cut in half, and they've done it to South Africa, Sri Lanka, Ghana, the Netherlands, and like I said, there was no hot water in parts of Germany because, oh, we're going to go green. And they laughed at Trump when Trump told them you can't be reliant on Russia. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. But, yeah, we're going to burn up the planet. We only have 12 years to live. Oh, and they're changing the name from monkeypox to queerkypox. They got 1,700 cases in England, mostly the work of gay, bisexual, or men who have sex with men. 97% of the cases. Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good every life watching this stupid show. So hopefully check out those websites. The one I mentioned, man. Gateway Pundit. See the FBI at work on January 6th. So hopefully we'll see you again next week, inshallah. Good Lord willing, and creek don't rise. So until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, sniff the bum of the guy in the man dress in front of you, head east and pray towards Mecca and say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar. Whoa, Mackie.
Thank you and good night.
Oh, now you wake up.
2 days after his air ambulance had crashed,
Right.
he made it only about 4 kilometers before it crash landed.
Right.
To respect the conspicuous gallantry and intrepid the intrepid ability of his service. And finally, the airship was ready to depart. One of his Vietnamese allies was shot in the foot. I think we're dismissed.
Vote Senator Mack.
Laura, is she trying to repel voters? I don't know exactly what she's attempting to sell here, but I'm not sure the sun don't shine agenda is going to be picked up by too many voters, even in Rhode Island.
Is that a climate change commentary? I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
You know, given the controversy over curriculum, Laura, what's going to be
talking about teaching a comprehensive, culturally relevant, age-appropriate sexual health education curriculum, which is what this bill is.
The opposite of pain and fear is pleasure. So teaching our young people that using their bodies in an empowering way and setting healthy boundaries and talking about productive relationships, that is a sense of pleasure.
Oh,
yeah, let's hope
He makes his way down the hall. A little boy rounding the corner as the gunman opens fire, narrowly escaping as more than 100 rounds are fired. 3 minutes later, police arriving. 2 officers doubling back as they come under fire.
Where's their shield?
19 minutes after the gunman first opened fire inside, more heavily armed officers arrive, some with shields. 36 minutes in, officers are still seen standing in the hallway, guns drawn, but still have not confronted the suspect.
Of course not.
48 minutes go by. He fires another 4 rounds, but still no rescue attempts. At 57 minutes later, more waiting. It's not until 12:50, 77 minutes after the shooter entered the school, 74 minutes after the first police arrive, that a team would finally breach the classroom and kill the gunman.
Mom, she's a doctor, all right? She'll get you. And look, she's right. I've been to those bogadas. They're full of breakfast tacos. And you know, Jill got that from me. That's my nickname for the Hispanic people. I say, hey, come here, my little breakfast taco. Let me take a whiff of you. Oh, I got sour cream on my nose. You know, they like it. They like it. You know, all the minorities like me. I don't care who you are. The Latinx people, the Malcolm X people, they all like me.
My baby, I go home, darling. See my baby. Oh, baby, want to see my wife. Oh, tell me, baby, where it gets rolling down. Oh, tell me, baby, where it gets rolling down. Ooh, baby, gonna have more fun. Baby, you don't go. Baby, you don't go. Baby, you don't go. Baby, you don't go. Baby, don't go, man, you hate me so. I love my baby with red dress on. I love my baby with red dress on. I'm gonna shake it all out, darling. I'm gonna have more fun. Yeah, with baby, 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 baby.